Have you ever stopped to think about how much we depend on each other? Take your own organization, for instance. People depend on one another to meet standards in things like production, quality, cost, and morale. No one expects one person to do it all alone. The same is true in safety. We depend on each other to make our workplace injury-free. No one person can do that alone either. It takes the effort of everyone involved to prevent injuries and incidents. Are the people in your organization doing all they can to stop injuries? Are they doing everything possible to promote a safe workplace? Have you developed a robust safety culture where everyone feels responsible for safety? Wherever you are on the safety spectrum, from very safe to not as safe as you'd like to be, Stop for Each Other can help.
Our goal is 0 injuries, and we're going to make it. Now that we've learned to see safety everywhere.
At one time, we found that if one employee talked to another about safety, there was a lot of defensiveness. And now what we find is that the first thought that comes to a person's mind when you talk about safety is very simply, this person is thinking about me. They want me to go home safely today, so let's hear what they have to say, and let's see if we can't get it safer here.
You know, it's not that hard to prevent injuries once you know how. STOP really helps with that. Now we're all committed, knowing that everyone is safe.
Incidents and injuries aren't a necessary part of life. They're preventable. How important is that? Well, think of the pain and suffering injuries cause the person who's been hurt, not to mention his or her family and friends. Think of the cost of injuries in terms of morale, and look at the tremendous negative impact injuries have on organizations like yours.
Injuries are a problem you just can't afford to ignore. Fortunately, there is a way to be sure people are working safely. Stop for Each Other can put your organization on the right track when it comes to preventing incidents and injuries.
DuPont's Stop for Each Other is based on tried and true safety principles that have been proven effective in organizations like yours. One of those principles is simple but powerful. It says that all injuries can be prevented. Think about that.
All injuries can be prevented. That goes for any site, anywhere in the world. We know it could happen.
Because we've seen it ourselves at a number of DuPont sites. Some of them have gone 5, 7, even 10 years without an injury. We'd like to see that kind of safety performance at your site. Stop for Each Other is a way to get there. The goal of Stop for Each Other is to prevent injuries by developing safety awareness of everyone in your organization. It teaches people how to use powerful observation techniques and specially designed tools to help them see safety. Its philosophy is that everyone from the top of the organization on down is responsible for safety. That's what we mean when we say depend on each other, all of us, all the time. Stop for Each Other uses a proven step-by-step process to help people observe for safety and talk about it with others. It's divided into 5 units, with each unit building on the previous ones until all the units are completed. Over a period of weeks, Stop for Each Other develops safety skills through self-study workbooks, field activities, and group discussion meetings. Each part of the program is aimed at raising safety awareness and preventing injuries at your site.
Here's an overview of how the program works. Unit 1 is an introduction to Stop for Each Other. In this unit, learners give an honest evaluation of where they are when it comes to safety.
I should have used a stepladder. I mean, I thought it would be okay to climb up on the chair. I guess I didn't think.
I don't remember the incident clearly. I've done it before. Ridden on the front of the car. I knew it wasn't safe. What was I thinking?
Oh man, don't talk to me about safety. There's too many rules and regulations as it is. And no matter what you do, people are going to get hurt from time to time. Injuries happen, and there's nothing we can do about it.
It's that kind of thinking that Stop for Each Other can change. Unit 2 starts to build critical skills in safety observation. It focuses on how to use STOP observation techniques to see safety and introduces an important component of STOP.
The STOP Safety Cycle. The safety cycle reminds people to build safe work practices into any job they do. The cycle has 5 steps: decide, stop, observe, think, and act.
Safety is a top priority, as important as any other aspect of my job. But safety doesn't happen by itself. You have to think about it. Pay attention to it every time you do a job.
That's right. It's the first thing I think about before I start a job. How can I do this safely? Well, I decide to work safely. It's a decision that I make.
I stop and give my full attention to the area and what I'll be doing there. I think about the jobs that are going on, the kinds of hazards involved, and what makes for safe work practices. That's why it's important to stop.
Next, I observe. I look around for unsafe acts or unsafe conditions that could cause an incident or injury. There are 2 special observation methods that I use every time I do a job: self-observation and total observation.
In self-observation, I use my mind's eye to visualize how I do the job before I do it.
Total observation means using all my senses to determine if a work area is safe. First, I look for safe and unsafe situations, like this. But total observation means looking beyond the surface, looking Abby, above, below, behind, and inside. The next step is to think about what I've observed. I use a questioning attitude and ask myself, what could happen if I leave things as they are? Here's where we act to eliminate unsafe acts and unsafe conditions. The goal is to keep yourself and those around your work area safe.
Unit 3 moves people into a new level of thinking about safety. It encourages them to consider the dynamic workplace and how quickly things can change in today's environment.
New equipment, new employees, changing job procedures, and most important, the interactions of people in this environment all play a role in safety.
This unit shows learners how the STOP Safety Observation Card can help people see safety in the dynamic workplace in an organized way.
The card has 2 sides. One deals with conditions in the workplace, and the other deals with the actions of people, the human side of safety. Learners see how people's actions create safe and unsafe conditions. Categories on the card, reactions of people, positions of people, and so on, tell learners where to focus when they look for safe and unsafe acts.
Now, let's see how this works with one of the categories on the card, positions of people. Now, this category reminds us the way we position our bodies is important to working safely.
We started on a hook and a sling, and one of the legs swung around and hit me in the face.
I was cleaning the tank car when the steam line broke loose. I got second-degree burns on my arm.
I didn't check the box before I picked it up. I strained my back.
Each one of those incidents could have been prevented if the people involved had considered the way that they were positioning themselves. When it comes to things like looking at positions, checking for personal protective equipment, looking at orderliness, and so on, the STOP Safety Observation Card can really help prevent injuries. Unit 4 continues to focus on the categories on the observation card and introduces the important topic of how to talk with others about safety.
Remember, we depend on each other to work safely, and that means we need to talk with one another about safe and unsafe work as part of our everyday conversation.
This unit gives people a structure for making a safety contact when they see a person working safely or unsafely. And here's the first part of what we call a safety contact.
Dave should be using that guard. I should say something, but he's been here a lot longer than I have.
Talking with others about safety might not come easily to you,
especially if the person is working unsafely. A lot of people feel that way at first.
But what if he gets hurt? In STOP training, I realized that safety is everyone's responsibility, and what he's doing isn't safe. Okay, how did they say to handle this situation? Wait until it's safe, get his attention, then start with a positive comment on his safe behavior.
Hey, Dave! Can I talk to you for a second? Oh, I noticed you're wearing your PPE, just like they taught us in that last safety training.
Yeah.
Step 3 is to talk with, not at, but with the person about what could happen and a safer way to do the job.
I noticed you weren't using the guard. It worried me because you could really get hurt.
I hardly ever use it, it's fine.
Ah, but remember what they taught us in STOP training. Safety is everyone's responsibility, and I wouldn't want to see you get hurt. But what could happen if that material came loose?
Once people get used to talking with each other about safety, it's natural to take the next step into formal safety observing. Think of formal safety observing as a structured observation and conversation around safety.
That's recorded on a Stop for Each Other observation checklist. Unit 5 teaches people how to do effective, non-threatening observations that can really improve safety at your site. They learn about a new step in the safety observation cycle that involves reporting on what they find in observation.
And people learn to use the Stop for Each Other observation checklist to look for and report safe and unsafe acts. The goal of the observation is to take a close look at safety at your site. It isn't meant to catch people doing something wrong or to blame them for unsafe conditions. That's why the observation checklist never includes the name of the person who is being observed. Let's see how a safety observation might be conducted.
Hey, Noah. Hey.
Hey, Ava.
How are you?
Good, and you?
Good. I'm doing a Stop for Each Other's safety observation. You got a second?
Sure.
Great. I did notice your work area is in very good order.
That's the only way to work safely.
Great. So, do you have any personal protective gear that you wear?
My gloves.
Oh. Your gloves are torn. I'm a little concerned that you might get hurt.
You're right, I didn't notice that. I need to get new ones.
Great. And you're wearing protective eyewear.
Have my safety glasses.
Good. So, are there any other hazards that you need to be concerned about here?
Yeah, that machine right over there.
It's that simple. Now Ava will report the results of the observation on the observation checklist without the name of the person she observed. The next step is for Ava to give the checklist to her supervisor or the person responsible for safety at the site. That person will analyze the data from all the observations to get a picture of safety. Then everyone can use that information to improve site safety. We suggest conducting safety observations and analyzing observation data on a regular basis.
From beginning to end, Stop for Each Other builds the kind of safety awareness that can prevent injuries.
It promotes a culture that says we depend on each other to work safely. It encourages people to talk about safety as part of their job. Our experience says that this is the way to be sure people are safe.
Is that what you want for your site? Well, if so, welcome to Stop for Each Other.